Hello, what is up? Welcome to Ferrell Swim Tech. My name is John Ferrell. This is the swim stream where I take my 15 years of swim experience and over 12 years of private coaching, and I help you get faster on the swim. So today's episode is going to be about bilateral breathing. Think of this as more of an advanced breathing technique ideology episode. Because breathing technique is very personal. What you decide to do is really up to you. There's no terrible way to do this. There are suboptimal ways of do it. There are, the good, better, best kind of things. But in terms of breathing normal, breathing only to one side, bilateral breathing, there's pros and cons, but ultimately it's not that big of a deal. However, there are quality of life things that you can do in order to make your swims easier through doing this, okay? Because you're going to find a lot of people that say breathe every stroke. That means breathe every stroke means you pick one side. So this is my right. So breathe down, breathe down, breathe down. So breathing every stroke maximizes oxygen, stuff like that. However, I contend if you have poor breathing technique, in other words, you shoot your hand down to the bottom of the pool in order to get your rotation in, your stroke is greatly altered on your breath stroke versus your non-breath stroke. This might not be the best idea for you until you're able to get your stroke under control. So there's kind of a lot of caveats when it comes to There's a lot of caveats when it comes to breathing technique and how many times you breathe. So the thing to understand is that bilateral breathing is not mandatory to be a good swimmer. It's absolutely not mandatory to be a great swimmer. It's not mandatory. You can go super fast without ever bilateral breathing. It's totally fine. However, it is a good technique to have in your arsenal. And before we really start diving into this today, I want to mention our affiliate with the Ferrell Swim Tech stream, and it is Dynamic Triathlete. I just popped it in the comments. This is an app that has 20-minute stretching routines for every day. They also have a fair amount of routines, like a 3-week hip and knee program. They have lower back stuffs, IT bands. They have certain daily stretching routines targeting certain areas. They also have great 6-minute warm-ups for both run and bike. Don't have anything for swim yet. I have pitched the idea of helping advise on warm-up routines for swims. But they have a lot of great overall mobility stuffs. I use it every night that I can remember it. It's softball season. My nights are obliterated. But that being said, Dynamic Triathlete, great platform, relatively inexpensive per year. It's $80. If you use the 10% discount code SWIM, winds up being about $81 a year, about $8 a month. In order to get access to every single video, no extra caveats, no questions asked. It's a really good platform. If you use offer code SWIM, you get 10% off your purchase, and it helps the stream. So check out Dynamic Triathlete today. So let's get into bilateral breathing. So I've already mentioned that bilateral breathing is not required in order to be a good swimmer. So this is kind of where we start talking about more advanced drills / techniques. Okay. So the drill aspect of bilateral breathing, first off, what is it? Okay. I'll be brutally honest. When I started triathlon in 2019, I started hearing about this. I'm just like, bilateral breathing. What is? I don't understand what this is. And then I looked at him like, oh, it's breathing every other. because that's what we called it. That's what we called it all throughout my swim career. We just called it breathing every other, breathing 3, 5, 7, or 9 strokes, even 11. So basically, it's an odd breathing pattern. Okay, breathing every stroke, breathing every 4 strokes, every 6 strokes. If you're an idiot, 8 strokes. That's an even breathing pattern. So basically, even breathing patterns, you're always breathing to one side. Bilateral breathing is you're breathing to both sides. All right. So typically 3 strokes. That's your typical breathing, bilateral breathing pattern. 3 strokes, 5 strokes, 7 strokes, 9 strokes. Because when you take your breaths, so let's just say breathing to your right is 1, then you're going to take 1 arm, 2, 3, and now you're going to be moving to your left, 2, 3, right, 2, 3, left, 2, 3, right, 2, 3, left, 2, 3. Okay. Now, that's what bilateral breathing is. So breathing technique, the actual discussion of the technique, there's not much to be had because we already basically covered it in the breathing technique video. I will put a link to it in the comments later today. So bilateral breathing, the technique for bilateral breathing is basically how do you breathe to your dominant side, apply it to your non-dominant side. Sounds easy. Sometimes it isn't. Okay. As many of you stated, I posed a question. So yeah, the dirty little secret is I'm the one that makes the post about this stream. So yes. And Freak Wheelo Mishap. If you did not understand that, that is actually a bat thumb reference. Or was it Thumbtanic? I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's one of the Steve Oderkirk thumb movies. So if you haven't watched those, you can watch them on YouTube, but understand they're a thing. Okay, so kind of looking at some of the comments that I got. So Kim said if it screws up my rhythm and my stroke. So I'm going to be talking about the people that have issues with it. Let's see here. Used to bilateral breathe, but as I've done longer distances, I've almost given it up. Let's see here. Joy says, I wish I could breathe bilaterally. I'm not a strong swimmer, but it would help a lot if I can learn to do it. Spoiler alert, not necessarily going to help you too, not insanely. Let's see here. Okay. From Kevin, I breathe bilaterally as well, but my form goggles suggest I don't do it very well to the right, which is my go-to side while racing for whatever reason. Let's see here. I do not bilateral breathe. I know it is practice like anything, but it throws my rhythm off in the pool. I do not do it in open water because it just makes me dizzy, so I just sight more. Let's see here. Okay, so then Kathy, that's what Carrie said. Then Kathy replied, I only breathe bilateral in that way. I get dizzy with the same side. We'll talk about that. Let's see here. Juan said, I have tried bilateral breathing multiple times, just feels off balance, so I stick with right side only. I am also a terrible swimmer, usually just inside the cutoff. Don't worry, Juan. I'll help you out here. Let's see here. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah. So those are the comments from people. Let's see here. Hey, morning, Catherine. Morning, Kathy, Snehal, and Carrie. Hey, guys. Okay, don't worry. We're gonna get all into this. Y'all's just like totally blitz the comment section while I had my other window open. Okay, so the reason why it's so difficult, and I do apologize if you hear the wind sounds because it is just gusting outside. So the reason why it's so hard to bilateral breathe is quite frankly just because you're not accustomed to doing things on your opposite side. Breathing to your opposite side is, okay, the easiest that I can explain this is riding switch on a board, riding switch on a skateboard, surfboard, or going backside on a surfboard, riding switch on a wakeboard, wake surf, any board. You're basically turning yourself backwards. That's what you're doing. You're riding down a ski slope backwards on skis. That's kind of what the feeling is at first. And just like anyone that does those sports tell you, you just have to practice it. If you practice it, you'll learn the motions. You'll be able to get it down quicker. So if you have issues with bilateral breathing, it's okay. It's perfectly fine. Now, the way that I recommend you learn how to do this is, first off, fix your breathing on your dominant side. Okay? First off, fix your breathing stroke. Now, just a quick reminder, how do we breathe to our dominant side? So, this is my right side, all right? So, when I'm looking to breathe to my right side, what I'm doing is I'm pushing forward. So, let's just talk about the mechanics here, about breathing properly. So, arm is pulling underwater, okay? So, my right arm is pulling underwater. Left arm is recovering. As my left arm is recovering, I'm reaching forward and pushing my left arm out, opening the shoulders. So when I'm here, my left arm is front, my right arm is back. I'm taking my breath as I pull and recover. And when you get to about here, that's when you start reaching over and getting back into your stroke, okay? So then now I'm going to be pulling again, pulling with my right, recovering with my left, reaching forward, taking the breath here, and then as I pull with my left arm, the rotation has already started. I rotate back and I get back into the stroke, okay? Couple key items. Your head placement, okay? Your head placement is super, 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 super important. Anyone that has issues with dizziness, anyone that has issues with dizziness. Okay, anyone that has issues with dizziness, basically what you need to do is you need to be disciplined in rotating to the side and then rotating back and then keeping that head still as you unlock the neck from the shoulders, okay? You want to keep that face looking forward, cuz the problem is when you go breathe down, okay? When you look towards the side after the head comes down, you're forcing yourself into about 30 to 45 degrees of extra rotation. I don't care who you are. That's going to make you dizzy, okay? So allowing, and also don't snap your head over to the side. Allow the head and the shoulders, and this is super important when you're learning how to bilateral breathe. You're going to allow the head and shoulders to rotate at the same time. Super huge. So you're going to rotate here, take your breath, come back over. You notice how my head is in line with the shoulders. Okay, you got to keep that alignment. When you snap your neck, your brain goes bleh, bleh. It just kind of sloshes around in your dome. So it's never a good thing to snap your neck in order to take your breath. I just did a video review, by the way, ferrellswimtech@gmail.com. If you would like me to review your footage, we'll talk about that in a minute. But I just did a video review last week where the guy is almost here, and then he snaps his neck to the side to take a breath. That's going to be a huge quality of life improvement when you learn how to rotate everything at the same time. So then the other major key aspect is the arm pull while breathing, okay? Now, this goes into what I just talked about, is we want to rotate as we reach. We reach to rotate. We do not plummet to rotate, okay? Most people, what winds up happening is they reach forward and then they push the arm down, and as the arm comes down, they take their breath, okay? because as they reach to the bottom of the pool, that's when they're finally on their side to take their breath. Well, here's the problem. When you're already there, you're halfway through your breath cycle. You're halfway through when you're supposed to be breathing. You're supposed to be breathing here, and then you take your breath during the entirety of the pull, whereas you're here. Okay, so you're here, take the pull here. Okay, you see how that is about halfway through your pull. So if you're finding yourself out of breath, couple things to review. Okay, please. The easiest way to do this is film yourself. Now, whether you want to send it to me or not, I don't care. You review it, because it is very easy to tell when you're taking the breath. Okay, and then you need to start doing dry land exercises. Reach to rotate. So think about reaching up and getting onto your side. Up onto your side. So doing it in a swivel chair is actually pretty easy, because you're here, you reach onto your side, take your breath, back forward. We're on your side, take your breath, back forward. Okay, you see how I'm reaching onto the side. So learning how to breathe, you can easily do it on dry land. I don't recommend doing it on the bench like I showed last time on the side-to-side drill, because you will fall off. So it's easiest just to get here and then just feel the shoulders rotate onto the side as you reach up into the sky. So then what you want to do is you want to get in the water and then just hold the wall and then just reach towards the other side of the pool and feel your shoulder open up. Feel it open up, okay? And then as you're doing it, bring the head in line with the shoulders so you maintain that continuity during the entirety of the pull. One time. Sorry. Cold. So that's why breathing technique is so important. So then what we have to do is we have to then translate the breathing on your right side onto your left side, or your left side to your right side, whichever one works for you. You just have to do the same things. It's legitimately that simple. However, what is hard is getting your brain wrapped around it, okay? So couple things that you can do in order to really get into this, in order to start being accustomed to this. Number one, side-to-side drill. Number two, side kicking. Because the biggest problem with people breathing on the second side is that they're not replicating the same thing that they're doing on the first side. They're not replicating it, number one. Number two, they're not comfortable being on their opposite side. So you need to do things that make you be on that opposite side. One of my favorites, honestly, is just side kicking. Is throw some fins on, push off, stack on your side. So this is my left side. So I would just be on my side, kick, 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 kick. All right, as I'm doing the side kicking. So throw the fins on. You can hold a kickboard if you want. And if you're going to hold a kickboard, here's my trusty kickboard I have at me at all times. You can hold it like this. You can hold it like this. You can hold it like this. Doesn't matter. Shout out to Poco Loco. Rest in peace. So you just be on your side. Just be on your side and kick. And honestly, it's a really good idea to focus on that side. If you really want to learn bilateral breathing, you want to focus on that side that you're most uncomfortable on. Now you're going to be able to start being at ease on your side. You're going to find that you're going to rotate and you're going to be easier to rotate on that side. A lot of it is training your mind. And that's what you're doing with side kicking and side-to-side drill. So side-to-side drill is probably going to be your best weapon to learn bilateral breathing. Just because what you're doing is you're forcing yourself to get onto your non-dominant side and do it. Okay, So yeah, so those are kind of my best ideas on. Oh, by the way, here's the other big thing. Make sure when you pull, you got that bent elbow in. You never want to pull and go down with a straight elbow. Remember we talk about engaging the bicep and the tricep, okay? We do that. What we're going to do is we're going to find that our arm is going to lock into that 90-degree position a lot easier. So as you start your catch, as you start your pull, engage the bicep and the tricep. It's going to lock your arm in that 90-degree bend. It's going to make your life a lot easier. And then over time, you're going to find at the beginning, your arm muscles are going to get super tired just because you are definitely going to over Hulkify it. Over Arnold Schwarzenegger wearing a Speedo on the stage at Mr. Universe. That's an old man reference. So before he became the governor, he was the Arnold-nator. Anyway. So you're gonna pull with the 90-degree bent elbow, whether it's breathing to your right or the left. That's the one thing that most people don't catch. Okay, so now let's talk about this concept of bilateral breathing in terms of a breathing pattern. Okay. 3, 5, 7, 9, those are your typical bilateral breathing. If you're a masochist, 11, but then again, you're only taking one breath for the entire. If you're going 11 strokes between breaths, you just might as well just say, "Oh, I'm only breathing once per 25." Because let's face it, who's taking 40 strokes during? I hope there's no one taking 44 strokes during an entire 25. Okay, maybe a 50. And open water swimming. Okay, all right. You people that love 11 strokes per breath, you have it now. Yeah, sorry, got gunk in my nose for some reason. So all right, so 3-5-7 for 3-5-7 breathing patterns. Typically, most bilateral breathers they go about 3. They don't really go 5, and 7 is you're doing something specific, because I don't know anyone that would ever say go 7 strokes between a breath during a race. No, not a good idea. Typically for me, I go either 3 strokes. I usually start at about 3 strokes. And then as I settle into my rhythm, I start going about 4. And just for me, and I understand the whole reasoning for wanting to breathe every stroke because of the oxygen intake. For me, though, my stroke pattern or my stroke turnover rate is at a point to where if I go every 2 strokes, I have to actually slow my stroke rate down. So for me personally, this goes into the idea of having racing gears, just like gears on a car. You have a certain gear for the start. You have a certain gear for the long stretches. You have a certain gear after you make, like, if you have to make a U-turn, at a buoy, you got to make a U-turn at a buoy, a big left turn at a buoy. You're gonna radically alter your stroke, and then once you get out of that turn, you got to pick your speed back up a little bit to get back to cruising speed. So you have kind of different overall strategies, and your breathing pattern should be a part of your strategy. Just because, as I mentioned before, even when I really, need more oxygen and I can't hold, I'm very positive that. Oh, by the way, if anyone has any questions over anything that I've said up until this point, please hit it up in the comments. If you're in live chat, I will read them and check them. And if you're watching as a VOD, if you have any comments whatsoever, please hit me up in the comments. Ferrell Swimtech. Also email ferrellswimtech@gmail.com. I guess we'll go into this now. So ferrellswimtech@gmail.com. That's the easiest place to find me. Instagram at ferrellswimtech. I try and do more posts. I kind of accidentally. I accidentally posted a video with me learning a new Diabolo trick. I am a Diabolo fanatic, and my Diabolo is actually my good one that I just bought. It's in the it's actually in my wagon that's outside for the softball wagon. Those of you that do softball, you know the wagon. So I was working on a new trick the other day, and I was like, yeah, I nailed it. So I'm gonna post it to Instagram. And then I realized, oh crap, it's Ferrell Swim Tech. They get to see a cool Diabolo trick. So if you want links to all the stuff that I do, Linktree. I just posted my Linktree in the comment section, so check it out. I do in-person swim lessons, so if you want to do a in-person swim lesson with me, I have a calendar. Please, if you use the Set More calendar, that actually legitimately sets up a swim lesson. Had someone that set up a swim lesson, and I didn't know who they were, and I contacted them like, oh, well, I'm a triathlete. I got your calendar from someone I know. And I thought I'd just put me on the email list. No. You want to email me, ferrellswimtech@gmail.com. There are no email lists. Basically, you set up an appointment. You come to Glendora and Glendora High School, and then we do a lesson together. I'm based out of Glendora, California. So if you live North OC, North San Diego, San Bernardino, Ventura, Los Angeles counties, we can figure out a time to do a swim lesson. Also, I do online stroke technique reviews. You can check a link to Ferrell Swim Tech on YouTube at Ferrell Swim Tech or Rumble Ferrell Swim Tech. I'm a little behind on uploading the past streams that I've done. However, most, if not all, of the stroke technique reviews that I have done are uploaded on both of those locations. So if you're interested in what a virtual stroke technique looks like, just check out one of those videos. Also, lots of other things that are affiliated with both my stream here on Facebook and my gaming stream I do on Rumble. I stream to Rumble, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Figured out the whole multi-streaming thing. It's pretty fancy. So if you're on any one of those platforms, just check out my links in the link tree. So if you like to watch a guy playing video games with a couple buddies, we have a really good time. It is a good time. So if you like what you see, if you like this content, you want a couple chuckles, go check out my gaming stream most nights starting at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. Also, if you just need something to listen to while you're folding laundry, you can also listen to my past gaming streams if that's your thing. Okay, so enough about that. Let's talk about the actual breathing patterns. So there's a reason why you should spend time with hypoxic-esque breathing patterns. Now, I say hypoxic-esque because the term hypoxic for triathletes is a naughty word. We don't like to not breathe. We like to breathe all the time, on the time, all the times. Yeah, I've gotten into a couple discussions on the Lionel Sanders Discord group. There's a couple staunch defenders of breathing every stroke. Very staunch defenders. Hi, Jonathan. How are you? So basically, here's the deal. Breathing every stroke, the main argument for it is being able to get the most oxygen into your body. Okay? Fair argument. That's a good argument. However, my counter argument is twofold. Number one, you breathe every stroke, you run the risk of making yourself dang dizzy. Whipping your head to the side every time. I truly avoid that at all costs. Number two, if your stroke pull path during your breath is really weak, that you're going to take a major hit in speed. Okay? That's my second argument against it. So, hold on. I just hate it when you got something like all the way back here and it's like affecting your ability to actually make words come out of your mouth. It's delicious. Okay. So when you breathe every stroke, you tend to have the problem of messing up your stroke performance. And then you're going to take a pretty big hit in the speed department. So breathing every 3 strokes or breathing every 4, you wind up not holding your breath for that long. And if you think about the idea of, so let's say you breathe every 3. You breathe 2, 3. Okay. 3 is an exhale stroke. Okay. So you're only realistically holding your breath for 1 stroke. Okay. So you breathe in, hold, exhale. Breathe, hold, exhale. Breathe, hold, exhale. All right. So if you're smart about how you breathe in terms of your actual breathing, it actually works out a lot better for you because you get 1 full stroke. You get 1 stroke to allow. Okay. I'm not a cardiologist. This is just my general thoughts on this. You take your breath, have 1 breath to allow it to circulate through. 1 stroke circulates through your system. Exhale on the next stroke. Okay? Take your breath 1 stroke. Allow it to do its thing 1 stroke. Breathe out another stroke. Breathe in. Do its thing. Breathe out. That's kind of how I view it. Okay? And like I said, when I take 4 strokes between breaths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. When I do that, I'm typically moving my arms a little bit faster. And this way, you're not holding your breath for so long. If you take a breath every 4 strokes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, it's going to take forever. Okay, that's why this whole breathing thing, it is very much so customized to the individual because there are so many variables involved. However, rule of thumb, breathing every 2 strokes is not a terrible thing. It's not the greatest thing in my opinion, as I've mentioned before in the breathing episode. Now, what I recommend though is every couple of breaths, take a break from breathing. Okay, so a very, very common racing, strategy for me is taking 3 breaths, then 4 strokes. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so you're taking 3 strokes of 3 full breaths and then 4, and then you skip 1. Okay, so the whole reason that I like to do this is because you get 3 good breaths and then you kind of center your head, get a couple really good strokes in. All right, so consider doing that. If you're a diehard, I need to breathe to one side every single time. If you're diehard on that, try the 8 count breathing pattern. So take 3 breaths and then 4 full strokes. All right, just try it. Okay, just give it a shot. Give it a shot. I guarantee you, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Okay. So when we're talking about 3, 5, and 7 strokes, there's actually a good case to be made in order to do these during a workout. Now, I don't necessarily 100% recommend you do hypoxic and sprint. Okay, you don't have to sprint with hypoxic breathing. You don't need to do that. You want to shoot your heart rate up stupid quick? Do hypoxic and no breathing. Yes, that is going to shoot your heart rate up in an instant. Maybe there's some reasons why you want to do this. The only thing that I can think of is training and being able to swim. With the okay, try that, see how it feels. Thanks, Catherine. Okay, good. So I got someone willing to take a chance. Yeah. So there's a good reason to be made for actually doing some 50s and 25s without taking a buttload of breaths, okay? Reason number one, you're swimming with your face in the water. Now, typically, if we just want to swim with our face in the water, we'll grab our snorkel. Grab the rhino snorkel, put your face in the water, and keep swimming. However, we can't use snorkels during a race. Snorkels during a race are a no-no. As far as I understand, I've never seen anyone in a race use a snorkel. I am pretty positive it's against the rules. So how can we start learning how to incorporate? So if we really start working on our stroke technique, and we use the snorkel in order to isolate our head movements so we can really look down. And this is the whole reason for using the snorkel. It's not just to where you're continuously breathing, but you're able to keep your head in the water and really focus in what your arms are doing underneath the water. Because when you're taking a breath, you can't see here. You know, you can barely see what's going on out of the corner of your eye, but you can't focus on what you're doing. So you want to be able to look down, and that's what the snorkel's for. Now, when you start really saying, okay, well, now I've been working on the snorkel, I need to start reintegrating it back into the stroke. Try breathing every 3, every 4, every 8, even every 6. 4 to 6, 6 max. 6 max. Don't go longer than 6. You don't need to go longer than 6. Not going to be a good time. But if you're swimming comfortably, you're looking at a zone 2 or less kind of a heart rate, okay? Even if you are not breathing, you're going slow enough to where the ATP production is low. It's not consuming a crap ton of oxygen. You're able to make your oxygen supply last longer. And if you're only doing a couple 25s of this, you're going to have a good amount of time of just sitting there and watching your arms pull underneath you. So don't shy away from the concept of breathing every 4, breathing every 6, breathing every 3, every 5. I would say 5. 5 or 6 is going to be about the maximum that you're going to want to go. Once you go past that, you're just making yourself hurt for no reason at all. There's no good reason to do it. So, a good pitch for me to you of actually doing 3, 5, of doing number 1, bilateral breathing, just breathing every 3 strokes. You're going to have 2 strokes to look down at your arms. Breathing every 4, every 6, or 5 or 7. It allows you the opportunity to keep your head nice and still, get a couple really good swimming strokes in, then take your breath, get a couple strokes in. Remember, this is not hypoxic training, okay? Hypoxic training mostly involves going hard. I mean, true hypoxic training. There's people that'll say simply holding your breath is hypoxic training. I tend to disagree. I tend to disagree mainly because you're not focus, like if you're doing it with the intent that I am describing, you are not hyper focused on not breathing. You're hyper focused on actually seeing what you're doing underneath the water. Seeing what you're doing underneath the water. That isn't breath training. That is a transition. That is a drill. Okay, we'll call it a drill. Hypoxic-esque swimming. It is the drill. And the whole point of this drill is you're eliminating more breaths, okay? So remember, each drill blows apart your stroke. It emphasizes on 1 or 2 core aspects of your stroke and like 1000% ignores everything else. So when we're doing hypoxic-esque training, what we're doing is we're swimming with our face in the water. That's it. That's all we're doing. We're not taking our side to breathe. We're not lifting up to breathe. We're just keeping our face in the water as we're swimming so we can see what we're doing with our arms, okay? So when do we do this hypoxic-esque training? Now, remember, we've already talked about bilateral breathing, side-to-side drill, kicking on your side. That's how you learn how to bilateral breathe. However, if we're trying to do this concept of not breathing so we can actually look at our arms, this is when you do it. Usually I would throw this in after you do a bunch of pull training. So in other words, a really, really good time to do this is after you do the doggy paddle drill, okay? Especially for those of you that are slower than 2 minutes per 100, doggy paddle drill, that is going to be your big ticket to finding a lot of speed very quickly. Because remember, we're pushing here, we're grabbing and pulling till about halfway, then we're shooting here, and we're here, and we're here, and we're here, okay? So just remember, here, okay, getting into that pull here, not allowing that elbow to slip, not pushing through with the hand so our fingers are pointed backwards. It's we're grabbing here, and then here, and then here, and then here, okay? So then you start working on doggy paddle, and then you're saying, okay, now I need to swim some 25s, integrating your... So when you're doing stuff like doggy paddle, I recommend 25 drill, 25 swim, 25 drill, 25 swim, 25 drill, 25 swim. So you're basically getting yardage in, and you're solidifying this drill content. It's not going to do you any good just to do 100 drill at the beginning of practice when you really need to learn what the drill is. So for me, I do a little bit of drills at the beginning of practice just to kind of remind myself, because let's be brutally honest, I only do one swim workout every 2 to 3 weeks. I'm in the pool almost every day doing swim lessons, but in terms of actually swimming a good workout, I only do it every couple of weeks. So I'm like 90% in theory land and like 10% in actual physical training application. But I still swim sub 115s per 100. That's what technique can do for you. So you swim, you do your drills, and then you swim a 25. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because when you're looking down, 1, 2, 3, breathe. 1, 2, 3, breathe. Okay, so you're getting 3. If you breathe every 4, you're getting 3 solid strokes that you're gonna look down and you're gonna focus and you're gonna say, arms, do the right thing. Ha ha ha. Okay, now I'm gonna take my breath. 1, 2, 3, breathe. 1, 2, 3. Because the more you train your body to do the right thing when the conditions are the most ideal, it's going to be much easier to do it when you throw the breath back in. Just remember, that bent elbow is a huge deal. It is a huge deal because that takes this and turns it into this. And doing this is moving the water in the right direction. This does not. This shoots the water down to the bottom of the pool. This pushes the water down behind you so you move forward. Okay, so we want to move ourselves forward by pushing water behind us, and being able to actually look at what you're doing allows you to check and see if you're doing things right. So do a 25 of the doggy paddle, 25 breathing every 4 strokes, another 25 of doggy paddle, breathe every 4 or 6 strokes. Okay, not going to kill you if you do it for 25. Okay, not going to kill you. So, yeah, so that honestly should basically cover everything. We're nearing the 50-minute mark here. So yeah, we're gonna do the show close. So if there's anyone that is here live and you literally have any questions whatsoever, I'll take a few minutes and answer any of those questions for those that are here live. So basically, yeah, this is a free service I provide for Team Zoot. I love doing these streams. I really do. Streaming is a huge hobby of mine. I really like live streaming. I also have way too much swim knowledge. So if you have friends, that want to get better, refer them to me. Send them that link tree that I posted in the comments. They'll be able to see all my stuffs. Just understand that there's a lot of theory crafting when it comes to swimming. There's a lot that you can do on dry land, just like I showed you a couple dry land things. Hold on. There's a lot of stuff that you can do on dry land that will 100% translate into the pool. And being able to understand this will help you be able to train better, because you'll work on technique on dry land, and then you hop in the pool, and then you really kind of put it to the test. But yeah, swimming truly is a love of mine. You know, it's fun because my niece is killing it up in Utah. They just had their big state meet, and she, as a freshman for high school state, I think it's in the 5A division. She actually made top 16 and top 8 in a couple events as a freshman, so that's great. But yeah, their high school placed the best out of all of southern Utah at the state meet. So yep, I don't remember what our high school's called, but go girls. So yeah. Okay, racing calendar. So Pasadena was last weekend. Congrats to everyone that competed at Pasadena reverse try. I was going to do that race, but then I figured out that Los Alamitos Race the Base is back on the market, and I'm like, $50 less, plus I can get vengeance on this course for causing 2 flat tires. Yeah, I'm serious. They did not clean the course, and they had a bunch of thorns on turn 1. You're literally racing on a airport, on a defense. So it's the Air Force Reserves base in Los Alamitos, and you're literally racing on the tarmac of their airfield. So I'm like, this is a cool concept. So the run is stupid flat. The bike is stupid flat. And then I get to swim 200 meters in a 50-meter pool. I'm just like, I'm in. This is an easy race. I love it. So anyway, yeah, so I'm doing Los Alamitos Race the Base. That's like the second week in April. And then 2 weeks later, I will be at Bayshore. They're going to have one heck of a party this year. They got like a whole freaking village set up, dude. I am so excited about that. And, if I didn't have, okay, that's going to sound really bad, but if I didn't have kids, I would actually go down there and party the night before. If I didn't have a family, I would be there partying the night before, with chocolate milk. I'd bring copious amounts of chocolate milk. But they're actually having like a dance party the night before the race. I was like, okay, this sounds pretty cool. But yeah, so Bayshore, end of April. Then I'm going to try and do the pre-U 40K race. So this is a time trial racing series that this guy puts on here in Southern California. Most of his races are on the first Sunday of every month, and he has 2 races on the first Saturday of the month. And unfortunately, it's April and May, which is like the worst time for me to be doing these races. But hopefully, I can hit up the one in May. So, yeah, so those are my races for the first half of the year. I might hit up Cal Events Castaic. Okay, let's see here. Catherine writes, John, I have wondered what kind of efficiency am I possibly losing with breathing every stroke. Since I do everything by feel and have a science mind, I am curious. So here's the deal. In terms of efficiency, if you're actually doing the stroke right, you're not losing any efficiency. You really aren't. And that's kind of the double-edged sword of breathing every stroke. If you do have a really good stroke, breathing every stroke is not a bad idea. You see a lot of professionals doing it, especially with distance events and open water swimming events. You look at all the professional triathletes, a lot of them are breathing every stroke. You're not really losing in the efficiency department. Where you lose in the efficiency department is if your breath stroke is radically different than your non-breath stroke. So basically, you're going to lose a lot of efficiency. You're going to lose a lot of power if your breath stroke involves you, instead of reaching here to rotate, is if you put your hand in and you reach to rotate as your arm full extension is pushing down to the bottom of the pool. Because the idea is, for people that have poor breathing technique, is that instead of reaching here to get onto your side, okay, so you're here and then you come back over there, okay, water level is here, okay, if the water level's here, you're reaching forward to get onto your side. And the other way is you bring your arm forward, and then as you're pushing down, you're getting onto your side. And then if you pull with here, yeah, okay. So Catherine, so if you're good, if your technique is good here, then if you breathe every stroke, it's not that bad of an idea. However, for me personally, the only thing that I see that I have an issue, okay, if technique if we're just talking about breathing economy, once again, I'm not a cardiologist. I only go by what I feel. And I feel like breathing every stroke every single time, it kind of affects my own personal mental state. I get a little bit more dizzier if I breathe every stroke. I find that I have to slow my stroke down just a little bit in order to not just totally make myself dizzy. The other thing too is that if your stroke rate is too high, you can kind of induce a hyperventilating state. Not necessarily. If you're panicked and breathing every single time, you're basically going to induce a panic state, and that can snowball on you pretty quick. So like I said, breathing to your same side every single stroke, it's not a terrible way to do it. I personally have some reservations against it, as that being your go-to, because eventually I wind up breathing every stroke eventually. Eventually, near the end of a race, I wind up breathing every stroke personally. So I can't tell you, oh, it's horrible, I don't do it. No, because I totally do. I totally do it. Especially also if I'm in the pool and I'm pushing myself, like I'm doing a timed 1,000. I just did a set the other day of 10 200 freestyles. Near the end of those 10 200s, I was still pushing. I was pushing 215, so that's about 107 per 100. I was breathing pretty hard those last 200s, and I was breathing almost every single stroke. So it happens, and it's a good thing to practice. It's a good thing to train with. However, I very much so recommend you at least start your workouts breathing every 3, breathing every 4 strokes, doing the 8-stroke breath pattern. Take 3 strokes of 4 strokes, breathing every stroke, 4 strokes of not breathing every stroke. So that finds a way to balance itself out in the end. And then especially if you are training your stroke, you want more time looking down in the water, that's going to be a great time to just not breathe every single stroke. So, Catherine, I go way too deep into these explanations. I get yelled at all the time. This is like, that's too much information. But I hope that helps you. So basically, in terms of breathing economy, you want to find a rhythm that suits you. And working on your overall technique and allowing yourself to have time with your face in the water, that's really going to do you a lot of good. So take some time, experiment with this. Take some time to mess around, okay? Not every workout has to be, I am going to work out and I am a robot and I do my workout exactly the way my coach tells me to. Spend some time messing around, okay? Spend some time messing around with not breathing every stroke. Spend some time messing around with your hand position. Swimming is fun. Swimming is fun. And I understand as we do triathlons, we get into this mentality, no, train. Do some fun stuff. Do some silly things. Do some dumb things. Have a blast. Have a good time. So, okay. So that's going to be it for me. We're nearing the hour mark. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you everyone that has said things in chat. Check out the link tree down in the comments section. Like I said, I stream most nights. I am actually going to be gone all next week, or taking a vacation. So, no swim streams, no nothing next week. I blocked out my entire calendar next week because I'm not going to be in California. Yeah, so we're gonna have a good time, and then we'll be back in 2 weeks, and I need to figure out exactly I need to figure out what we're gonna do. Let's see here. Like to have Catherine writes, like to have all sorts of goodies in my toolbox to accommodate what happens out there on race day. Excited to try your suggestion when I get back in the pool. Focusing on all the elements of the swim, and my times magically come out of it. Love details in deepness. I am not the typical triathlete. Fantastic, Catherine. You know what? It's people like you that make me smile. So, yeah. So, keep training, everyone. Check the link tree down in the comments. Ferrellswimtech@gmail.com. If you want me to review your stroke, please let me know. I'll help you get some ideas for the better shots to do. I've had a couple of people cold call me, basically just send me a video clip out of the blue. Totally okay with that. Usually I kind of like to coach you on how to take a video. Maybe I should actually make a video on how to take video. I should probably do that alongside like the other 50 videos I feel like I really need to film. So yeah, check me out on Instagram, Ferrell Swim Tech, YouTube, Ferrell Swim Tech, Rumble, Ferrell Swim Tech. Check the link tree down in the description below. It's got links to all of those. So that's it for me. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Keep training, everyone. Team Zoot, thank you so much for allowing me to do this. Big shout out to Mark Goddard. I pitched this stream idea to Mark Goddard a couple years ago, and he just said, "Great, go for it, dude." And I've been having fun ever since. Sincerely, thank you so much, Mark, for letting me do this stream. I don't get paid by Zoot to do this. I do this as a completely free service. I get a couple freebies every now and then from Zoot, but truly, it is an honor to be able to share swimming technique with all of you. So thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll be back in 2 weeks from filming this episode. Make sure you tell your friends. I am totally cool working with literally anybody. So, especially if you have any pro triathlete friends, I really want to break into the pro triathlon scene. So, if you know any pros, drop a line. I'd greatly appreciate it. Okay, so Joy says video best from above or below water for your analysis. Yes. Because if I get multiple videos from you, I have the ability to look at what's going on above the water and below the water. There's certain things I cannot tell if it's above the water, if I'm looking only below the water, and vice versa. So if you can get both above and below water, that is going to be the best. And if you're having problem, and please, original video quality is best. Avoid just texting me a video. Or just sending an email video through an email. Please, if you want to send me a video, send me the email. Send me an email saying, hey, I want to send you video. I will send you a Dropbox link. Dropbox or Google Drive, usually Google Drive. I'll send you a Google Drive link to my ferrellswimtech@gmail.com. That way you can send whatever the heck you want. It doesn't matter how big it is. It can be a couple gigs if you want. Send me the video in the original format. Just because if you send it over email, if the video is too big, you have to wind up compressing it, and then the image quality suffers. It's just hard for me to see certain things if the video is blurred and pixelated. So, yes, above and below the water, send me an email. I will send you a Google Drive link to send me the original video. Okay, so I really got to get out of here. I got to get my kids ready for school. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this here Ferrell Swim Tech. And as always, got to wish Isaiah Norris a good night. So good night, Isaiah Norris, or wherever you are. Keep training, everyone. Send me the emails. Love y'all. Have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.